last I was able to make a recording since Mr. McRaven has been constantly harassing and haranguing me every time I do my own philosophical work. He harasses me. I cannot do work to improve myself for my studies on different things such as philosophy, AI, psychology, mathematics, because then he harasses me. And in order to really be in, your mind has to be at it. To get to a higher level, your mind has to get at a higher level, and he knows this. I am done with his harassments. He is attempting to overthrow the constitutional order of the United States, as he is a Southern bigot, and he is pretty much working with the same persons in the Republican Party who have been trying to destroy this country. As you can see, what happened over the last several years, these oligarchs have placed persons within the Democratic Party. McRaven harassed uh, and then used McRaven to, it seems like the Rosicrucians as well, he used him to attack different persons. Therefore, the meme entity demons grow from a metaphysical perspective. But from a not just a human, just a regular, normal psychology perspective, this is how any person we see within Hollywood, any melanated person has to divest themselves of their masculinity in order to become, quote, famous or celebrity or made it. This is something Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan were speaking about the other day. And it's quite true. And now we know the mechanisms, part of the mechanisms that they do so. McRaven is playing the game that, oh, well, we're just going to keep using and abusing my life. It's going to put me out on the street, blah, blah, blah. Well, it says, well, we didn't kill you. Well, yeah, you did kill me. You killed my ability. You've stolen my work, so therefore I'm not ahead of the pack. You're saying, hey, niggers, steal from this guy. And then meanwhile, you're also giving to increasing your cred with Caucasians as so in that the direction what to go. And so it's not making devaluing, so it devalues my value. So you think, or so he thinks. President Biden no longer lets him use um, the military. So now he's working with Mr. Prince, as I was able, Eric Prince of old Blackwater fame or infamy. I was able to burn one of the assassin he sends. Now, yesterday I did a trade and I just watched it, and it was immediately as I put it on, I watched it fucking go and go right towards it, take out my position. And then they did a few other back and forths in it to say, oh, to make it cover it up to make it look like it was no, it was normal. So that means my computers hacked again, violating my privacy and rights of publicity. And then you had doing his little things, had a homeless guy show up where I was at, and then, of course, had two kids show up at the gym. We also know that the owners of LA Fitness are working with him. Everywhere I go, he has cut off my networks. He did that with Miss Browning, with her daughter. She freaked out, and I'm really pissed off about that because he knows that because she's very important to me as far as what I need to accomplish. Which then also shows um, he sort of trying to say it's all about the sex thing. Well, now it has nothing to do with sex. What it has to do with is other, she has it in, she understands the people who are trying to overthrow the country. And they think they're doing the right thing, but they're destroying the exact thing that they say they love. And McRaven knows that because when part of the little thing he was pulling in the last election, because remember in the midterms, he was taking credit for my strategy on the national level and then trying to give me credit for the losses in Georgia, while at the same time using doing the counter things to gather data, counter marketing to gather data on the Republicans who were very MAGA. So he has that data, but he wants that data for himself because he's a bigot, because he's just like them, but he's been planted as a double agent, kind of like Manchin and Sinema, or should they kind of like just like Manchin and Sinema. And now President Biden, because of his donors, is not doing what the kids put him into office to do, which was uphold the Constitution. He was not he let Mitch McConnell off. They're trying to just, oh, we'll just wash this under the rug as far as Trump overthrowing the Constitution, and we're not going to prosecute or impeach and remove those nutcases out of the House and Senate and reestablish the law. Because technically, because they have not held somebody, have not held the senators, the or the congresspersons to an account, the Constitution is technically null and void. And the 1% just want to keep that going until they get their person in to fully finally take over and destroy the constitutional order. What has to happen is Mitch McConnell and then Kevin McCarthy. Mitch McConnell himself needs to be removed because he was the ringleader for what we've seen with the judges. This is his life's work to overthrow the Constitution. And he's even said it on the floor of the Senate when he was speaking about the whole judges and how he's put judges in who don't actually judge. You hear the Republicans, these far right Republicans, always talking about judges mandating from the bench. Well, that's exactly, they told you what they were going to do, what type of judges they were going to put in. Opposite day, complain about what's not going on, and make it look like the opposition is doing what they're not doing. Blame them for what you're going to do. And then, so Mitch McConnell should have removed Trump by the Constitution, the contract of America, and he did not. So by the 14th Amendment, he aided, him and Kevin McCarthy aided and abetted an insurrection. And when you read the original, even if they're originalist, one of the main things the founders were worried about were insurrections, armed insurrections. That's why the Second Amendment was created and said, well regulated militia. An unregulated militia is not of the Second Amendment. Yes, Americans can own guns to protect themselves, but this thing with everyone having a freaking every untrained idiot walking around with an AR-15 and a 50 cal is the biggest farce of the Second Amendment, and that was stated by Chief Justice Warren Burger in the 90s, that it was a farce committed by these lobbying agencies for the gun rights company, for the guns. It's not about gun rights. It's about creating an armed army for insurrection by the 1%, and also to then hunt down minorities, get them all propped up. So they had three different tacks. Uh, First was a legal tack through Constitutional Convention. Second, having the states call the Constitutional Convention. Second legal tack was through the courts to block anything, destroy, and the present legal situation. Then you had an illegal tack, which is arming and then getting up, scared up, ginning up the fear of all those European Americans. So that way they then go and just go on this bloody, get the bloodlust going and then start killing people. Now, McRaven is and has been, he's thinking he's been fooling everybody. What McRaven has not realized is the Joint Chiefs have been watching, and they're pretty much been, they view his behavior as abhorrent. They can't believe they worked with this guy for so many years, that they even looked up to him. You know, this is over for him. He doesn't realize it. He thinks that me writing to Parliament is just some blah blah blah. I've worked with MI6 and MI5 for years. Well, they're not going. They don't have a choice. Especially when you assassinated Her Majesty, when he assassinated using Rob Hammett or whatever his fucking name is, assassinated his Majesty on the behalf, working with a foreign government to destabilize the United States. Foreign person, that foreign person being King Charles, President, then Prince Charles, and then uh, Queen uh, Camilla. She was, I'll say cohort, but it's not the word she's supposed to be. Camilla, well, that present Queen Camilla and present King Charles III, to overthrow the head of state, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and they do so before she could finish conferring the Duke of Edinburgh, the title of Duke of Edinburgh upon me, which he was supposed to complete. By not completing so, and also by doing so, he is not holding the contract. He's overthrown the Magna Carta. But by being Her Majesty's sovereign champion, what it essentially means is to do the mandate. I have the power of Her Majesty to complete that mandate. To put it simply, I have the power of the state to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America and force King Charles III and Queen Camilla to to grant me my title, as well as still and uphold the contract, as well as still being a royal pain in the neck to him. As in other words, I get to look over his shoulder for the rest of his life or my life. And if he kills me, he's removed from the throne immediately. Him and Queen Camilla. Because Queen Camilla, working with the insect courtiers, and Prince Charles have been harassing Her Majesty for decades. They harassed Princess Diana to her death. Now, Princess Kate, I can totally understand you and Lady Markle not getting along. I get it. 'Cause I was, when you're reading the book, if you want to understand American women, I say chicks, switching over into Americanism. Sorry, pardon me. Is there's that movie Mean Girls, and I guarantee you, there's a story in Prince Harry's book where she borrowed, Lady Markle borrowed some lip balm from me. First off, Lady Mark, and it is true of black of women, especially Black American women and American women, tend to mind they just get in each other's crap. It's just really strange, especially as a. It's just weird. We're British wise, we're very individualized because we fit into our little boxes, and that's how it is. Where American women tend to, especially out west, because there's as you go farther west, the more. I think the statement I was reading was or watching was, as farther west you go, people are nice, but they're not kind. The farther east you are, people are kind but not nice. Kind person will help you fix your tire. A nice person will go, oh, sucks to be them, and that's kind of the way America is. I'm the East Coaster. Granted, I grew up in the South, but I'm mostly around a lot of New Yorkers, so I got a lot of that New York East Coast kindness, which means I'm kind of a jerk at the same time. But I will help you if I can. I'm not going to just go, oh, sucks to be them, man, which is very Californian. So she borrows a lip balm, and I almost guarantee you her next maneuver was a body language statement of, ha ha, I got you. And that's what you see. And that's what a lot of what she would do, a lot of microaggressions. That's how, not just black, we call it the Valley Girl. You want to see that movie, Mean Girls. Probably give you a slight understanding of the behavior systems. What Lady Markle did not realize is she is a duchess. First off, if she did not have her own lip balm, she sucks it up and just deals with it. She does not ask for yours. If you happen to see that she is suffering and you choose to give her lip balm, that is what is to be done. That's first off. But second off, she should have a lady in waiting to have that she could have turned to and said, "Could you? I left my lip balm. Could you go retrieve it?" And at that point, Princess Kate could have then said, "Oh, I have some lip balm. Would you like to kindly use mine?" "Oh, thank you very much. Oh, so wonderful. Thank you so much." And then her lady in waiting would then ask, "Would you still care for me to go get the lip balm?" And she would probably say, "No, that is fine. Uh, Princess Kate has provided for the moment." And that was all that. That's how that conversation went. But instead, Princess Kate, Lady Markle probably said, "Yeah," and then used it, and then did a little hee hee shoulder back and forth thing that the freaking American women do, which is a form of passive aggression, micro passive aggression. That's how they are, and the lady and Princess Kate rightly saw this and was rightly upset by this. And then from there, Queen Camilla then saw this and then used that to give permission to the household staff to inflame the situation. So they started to act unbecoming of their station, thinking that they can be talking down to Lady Markle, at which point then she then started defending herself, and then you started getting this spiral of chaos, which Queen Camilla just started laughing at because she's the one who set that in motion. And then anytime King Harry or Camilla would go, I mean Harry or Lady Markle would go someplace to do their good works as per duty, she would then send the paparazzi to keep them always on edge. This is the reason Lady Markle needs to go to finishing school and then also to spend the time to learn what it means to be an aristocrat. Because she does not have that innateness being a black African American woman by culture, and by not even just being black African American woman by culture, but just being an American woman by culture, because passive aggressive and microaggressions is part of how American women do things. Women in general, but American women in particular. It also flows into the whole why the keeper of the tiaras was so upset. That's another story. Her Majesty's tiaras, say that correctly, and mean it with. So continuing on, we have the 1% attempting to overthrow this constitution, and on also King Charles and Queen Camilla believing, since they use and have been using these one percenters, and they're saying, well, we'll keep that guy. You don't have to give 15%. You don't have to give the 15%. I said you didn't have to give the 15% because my system was designed for me, which means no one's coming to give me any money, so I can figure out how to raise money on my own. But I can't have this asshole in my computers all the time stealing my freaking uh, my systems. So I don't need you. However, that makes me even more dangerous because I don't need you or them to raise billions of dollars in capital to invest. But because we need to know who's trying to overthrow the Constitution, I'm given 15%, well, up to 15%, no greater than, of their wealth to show that they really are beholden to the crown, that they really do believe in the crown. Well, that's just being reasonable. It's only a one time thing. But by not giving, I think, and King Charles and Queen Camilla are thinking, oh, we're in control. No, you asshole idiots. It means they're in control. Oh, gasp. How dare him call the king an ass? Yeah, I'm the only one who can do that. And pardon me, it's very unbecoming, I understand. I'm speaking in American, as per the agreement that I would view this as an American, which means I'm probably going to sometimes speak very not so politely at times. For the most part, I will do so. I do my, it's, yeah, it's not the best. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II tasked me with ensuring the crown goes on so I can save the Constitution of the United States and protect the family and maintain the crown as the House of Windsor of the United Kingdom, Great Britain, and the Commonwealth of Nations. And I will so do so. So help me God. Right now, President Trump and the Republicans have gotten away with essentially treason, the overthrow of the Constitution. And and McRaven has and is attempting to try to keep me from connecting to other persons for his own political benefit. The President of the United States has failed, due to his large donors, to uphold my constitutional and privacy rights. This shows that we don't live that the republic is under siege. You don't tell me what I can and cannot say, who I can and cannot be uh, with. How dare you? Because remember, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how the British system is, to a degree. Actually, it's straight north south. House of Lords, House of Commons, So you have the House of Lords, House of Commons, Prime Minister, actually, and then the King. So let's put it this way. And then the King is considered a god. So you have House of Lords, and then you have the First Minister. I have not spoken to the Lord Speaker, but I will be sending that to him because those idiots, Lord Speakers, so let's do this right here. So that would be, oops. But anyway, that should be green. But but yeah, so if I was to change the color, that'd be green, and that would be red, and then the king scepter into gold. That's how the British system is. Our system is three branches co-equal: judicial, executive, legislative. I mean, White House. Executive, legislative, judicial. And then we, the people, uphold all of this with the vice president going back and forth between the judicial, I mean the executive, and the legislative. What Trump did is he turned it into this top down, and we need to return it to this three co equal branches of government. These white nationalists, these Christian nationalists, who do not believe that each person has the right to be whom they wish. And granted, I'm fully agreeing with them as far as like the transvestites. I find them personally kind of disgusting. I but that's what God made. That's what God made. Ain't up to me to sit there and be like whatever. But your behaviors, and then yeah, you don't get to. They are McRaven. Every time I do well or start to get people to understand, McRaven then trots out the hermaphrodite faggot demons in the form of the transvestite or the faggots, and then tries to make that association African American male or melanated male, therefore that they are gay. And then so straight Caucasian men don't have to view uh, it as my statements as man to man. What it's really saying is well, we know since McRaven is a psychopath or has shown psychopath behaviors of a psychopath. We would have to actually do probably brain scans. Well, I don't know. I know for the fact he's by his language sets and all that he's doing. That means he must actually be gay himself and a pedophile himself because they project their negativities onto Black African Americans. And these are the things he's trying to project. Then the other thing they do is try to build up like something that they can tear down. So they're saying, well, you're going to be the saint guy or whatever. So that way they can then say, well, you're not perfect. No, none of those things. I'm just me. I'm a heterosexual male who likes women with big boobies. So any type of projection that he's done, it's a statement of who he is, just by the structure of it externalized antagonistic personality. And McRaven has been harassing me for, and the Democratic Party has been stealing my intellectual property. He's been cutting off my networks. I now realized like a friend, well, she was a good friend. Well, back in the day, met her when I was in Vail, my first walkabout, get back, we're chit chatting, having, reconnecting. 'Cause we're both of the same cast. Um, you know, getting to get back to know each other. I think I'm being romantic. I roll down to her house thinking, because we were having good conversation, and she flips out on me. Now she should know better, knowing me, that I wouldn't do something so mean without. Uh, I wouldn't do that to be hurtful or harmful. But I realize now by her, as I said, every time there's a rhythmic situation, Rick Raven got to her. She just was, and was just so horrifically angry. And I'm like, whoa, that didn't make any sense. At the time, I just thought because she's extremely gorgeous, it was just because, well, maybe she met some guy who was a jerk off and did that to her, and that's reminded her. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But now I know it was McRaven. And I now know the family put her husband, her present husband, in front of her, who was a Caucasian guy, because she's so gorgeous. While I was at Full Sail, there's a black American woman who, awesome woman, the only black woman I've ever met that I was like, yeah, she's probably marriage material. And I'm a very patient person. I'm not a person who just jumps into relationships like that. And then all of a sudden she gets slowed down, gets into another, and then she meets another dude, and then gets married. That wasn't an accident either. I was McRaven as well. He's been interfering with my life for far too long, and he will not stop because he's a pathological, because his behavior is pathological, and he believes he's above the law. Him and Mr. Prince. So with that said, I have ordered by my command, MI5 and MI6 are to remove Mr. McRaven from my life. They are also to re-grant Prince Harry protections as a working royal. Prince Prince Harry, Sussexes protection when they are in England, as per the norm of a working royal. Queen Camilla is no longer going to sit there, because what she's doing is setting up harassment and the eventual removal of the Sussex. The Sussex. She's already creating a wedge between the brothers on purpose. They always isolate. She is evil, and what she's done to King Charles is just absolutely pure pathetic. Don't get me wrong, royals in general. I'm not a perfect person. I can be a complete asshole. Don't get me wrong, but it's never been this. I've never been that way, where that it externalized personality, this high psychopathy and high narcissism within, for obvious reasons, but where the malignancy of it, her malignancy is what's dangerous. It's not the I am this da 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 that we do. It's her malignancy that makes her a danger to the realm, because we're seeing that in the behavior of King Charles already, and how, because they believe, because they did not wait their turn, they believe they have absolute power, which means they believe in action, no matter what they say, or kind of make it look like they're doing in belief in self, they believe that they are absolute monarchs. And that can't happen. And that is my purpose, is to keep them in check until the time Prince William ascends to the throne. But we want him to raise his child as a normal human being, to know the difference between when to be ruthless and when to be caring, and not have something turn into the Roman Empire, uh, like Caligula and all those idiots, because they're overindulged and without responsibility, which is kind of what King Charles is trying to do. Is right now, is he's doing all of his setups. The soldiers, how you do it? Put those peasants on your toe. Yeah, not in the information age, dude. Not that way. You get your head cut off. And since my power is in keeping your head on, I need you not to do that. So, as I said this morning, and McRaven is going to believe that what I've said and what I've done is not, that my command does not matter. That is incorrect. Also, the Hollywood moguls, if I am to pass, Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, Ryan Johnson, the Sinclairs, as well as the Mercers, as well as Mr. DeVos and Eric Prince, if I am to pass or to be, or my, or harassed any farther, if I'm harassed, they are also to start harassing them. If I am to pass, they are to be removed from this planet as well. I live, you live. I die, you die. You have used the power of the state to attack me. I am using the power of the state to attack you. Mr. McRaven will be brought in for justice, but if he tries to elude justice, MI5, MI6, I will accept vengeance. For he is the one who gave the order on the behest of King Charles and King Charles III and Queen Camilla to whipsaw myself and Her Majesty, therefore assassinating Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom, Great Britain, and the Commonwealth of Nations. And so, since he used American active duty assets, military assets, and out of respect for the Navy SEALs, they have until tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is July 9th, to apprehend him and bring him to justice. And if Mr. Eric Prince gets in the way or continues, as because SEALs have one is none, two is one. If Mr. Eric Prince continues his his operation, he is to be removed as well. My computers will no longer be transmitting my moves or anything like that. You will no longer interfere with whom I wish to be with, my friendships. You will no longer be trying to associate me with people I don't wish to associate with, or to try to state the association outside of how I state the association. Because sometimes I might do things that might seem a little odd, but they'll have another reason, especially dealing with bikers. Above all, you'll apologize to Miss D. Browning for attacking her daughter. Because then you thought you were going to be on the positive side after you created all that negativity. Then start the pattern all over that thing that Miss Browning is desperate not to have her daughter go through, the hell of being in the throes of a psychopath. She does not want that for her daughter. And I will not allow you to do so. And while you say, "Who you are going to allow me to do shit?" Who the fuck do you think you are? Lestat some more. Until even when King Charles finally confers the title of Duke of Edinburgh, as Her Majesty's champion, while I will not be in the day to day, if at any time King Charles raises his head to think he's going to be an absolute monarch, it is my duty to remind him I hold the axe. On behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Defender of the Realms. Prince William, I know this sounds so horrifying. My job is to keep you alive, keep your son alive, make sure that you raise him. Well, I don't know, you raise him, but give you the opportunity and space to raise him as a man, as a human being, in the way you dream of, you and Queen Kate, Princess Kate. So he is balanced, knows how to wield power in a way that is not does not endanger him. Raise him to be the man you think you know he should be and can be his best self. Give him the space to grow into the mind and balance of being who he is without being lost to all the pomp and circumstance. To know when to wield and when not to wield. History has thrust this upon me, and so I have answered. I'd much rather just go snowboarding, to be honest with you, to be left alone. And that's the main reason your grandmother did this. Because if anyone understands your grandmother, it is this. It is I. She had other plans. She had other dreams. But duty and history called it. And so she did what duty and history asked. As do I. Mr. President, Biden, the Navy SEALs have until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning to apprehend Mr. McRaven and bring him to justice. And then I will go on the road, and I'm coming to Washington. And I'm going to bring a few friends. They're probably going to be pretty rowdy. Nah, they'll definitely be exceptionally rowdy. But we're putting the Constitution back where it belongs, in the hands of the people. To the people of Ukraine, no, you're not joining NATO until you raise yourselves to our level. Stand fast. Keep fighting. You can already see the cracks. History is on our side. I know there's countries who will think they'll try to change that history. I know there are dangers that I cannot see all throughout, but you have to believe that you can be free and that you will be free. Slava Ukraine. Glory to democracy. And may the flag forever wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave.